Good morning, students. I hope you all are safe at your places. This is a class for NCES. The topic is fuel cells. I will send you this PPT as well as this recorded message. In case you have still any doubt, you can contact me through a message or you can call me and ask any queries. In this topic, we have to do these contents. What is a fuel cell? What is the process of a fuel cell? Introduction to a fuel cell, a basic fuel cell, its construction, different types of fuel cells, how these fuel cells are differentiated and on what basis, their advantages, disadvantages and applications. Now we start with the introduction to a fuel cell. So fuel cells are the major source of electrical energy and it is a device that converts chemical energy of fuel into electrical energy. It is different from a conventional cell which produces electrical energy by four-stage conversion. First of all, it converts the chemical energy into heat energy. Then this heat energy gets converted to mechanical motion and then this mechanical energy gets converted to electrical energy. Now as we know that we have studied the indirect and direct systems, so we can say that in a fuel cell, the chemical energy gets directly converted to electrical energy. This is the difference between a conventional cell and a fuel cell. So fuel cells are termed as direct energy conversion devices. So all the benefits of direct energy conversion systems such as the intermediate stages are not there, hence the efficiency is higher, lesser number of components are used, therefore it gives greater efficiency. So these are applied to fuel cells, whereas in conventional cells what we have seen, a four-stage process. So all the devices which we use or we have used earlier or which we are using in the coming future, they all have some pros and cons. So when we are comparing a conventional cell to a fuel cell, though there can be many limitations of fuel cell, but from this process of fuel cell we can say that due to direct energy conversion transfer of chemical energy to electrical energy, they are bound to give higher efficiency. And the efficiency of these cells is calculated to be 70% because of the direct conversion, whereas in conventional cell the efficiency just reaches to 30%. Now a fuel cell basically takes input as a fuel, which is generally hydrogen gas H2, N2H4, which is hydrazine. It is a chemical liquid that is used in rocket propellants and other hydrocarbons. So these are the major source of fuels in a fuel cell. And another input is the oxidants. The commonly used oxidants are oxygen, H2O2, which is your hydrogen peroxide, it is a bleaching agent, and HNO3. Fuel cells are direct energy conversion devices and they are therefore convert a chemical to electrical energy that we have already studied. Now if we go to the basic construction of a fuel cell, we can see that it has two electrodes, one is the cathode, one is the anode. Anode takes the fuel as the input, whereas cathode takes oxidants as the input. So fuel we have seen in a basic fuel cell, hydrogen or hydrocarbons are used, whereas oxidants we take oxygen, air as the input. And then these two electrodes, if you can see, they are dipped in an electrolyte. Now what is the output is? The excess of fuel is taken out. Another output is the unused gases are taken out, and the major output is the electric current. So when a fuel is oxidized, that is hydrocarbons are oxidized due to oxygen O2, we create electric current. So this is the conversion process of a fuel cell. So hence what we have seen that two electrodes, one anode, one cathode is used. Both are dipped in an electrolyte. The inputs are hydrogen gas H2 at anode and oxygen at cathode, while the outputs are water, electricity and heat energy. Because of the ionic reactions, when the fuel will be oxidized, of course the heat would be produced. So heat is another output which has to be taken care while we are using a fuel cell. So this process can be listed out as fuel plus oxygen will give electricity plus oxidation process. Now, based upon certain factors, we differentiate types of fuel cells. There are 5 types of fuel cells which are differentiated on different bases, and these 5 types are PEMFC, proton enhanced membrane fuel cell; PAFC, phosphoric acid fuel cell; AFC, alkaline fuel cell; MCFC, molten carbonate fuel cell; SOFC, solid oxide fuel cell. Based upon the ionic reactions, that if we have a certain type of fuel cell, what the reactions would be taking place. So what reaction is basically oxidation of fuel that will create the output. So this oxidation is categorizing the types of fuel cell. For example, for the first 2 types, PEMFC and PAFC, at anode we give hydrogen which will uh, convert itself into proton and electron, 2H positive plus 2 electron. At cathode we give the input as oxygen. Proton and electron will come from the anode through the load which will form hydrogen. Similarly, when we see AFC, then at anode H2 plus hydroxyl ions are given which will make water plus electrons, while at cathode we know oxidation takes place, so we give half oxygen plus water plus electron which is coming from anode will make 2 hydroxyl ion. If we go back to this slide of where the basic fuel cell is given, so we can say that when the fuel H2 gas, hydrogen gas is given, electrons are released at anode. These electrons through the load, this is the load, goes into the cathode. During this transmission from anode to cathode, electrical current gets produced. And when these electrons reach the cathode, then we can say that oxygen is given and these electrons combine with oxygen to make the output. So depending upon which type of fuel cell we will use the ionic reactions. We will use that fuel and output would be creating accordingly. But in every fuel cell, whenever a fuel is given at anode, electrons would be produced and the traveling path of electron would be from anode to cathode through a load, where at the load, flow of electrons will create the electric current. So similarly, if we move to MCFC, molten carbonate fuel cell, we have the inputs and the outputs. So at anode, hydrogen gas plus cobalt ions will make water, carbon dioxide and electrons. And then at cathode, oxygen plus carbon dioxide plus electrons which are coming from the output of anode, they will combine and make cobalt ions. Similarly, SOFC, solid oxide fuel cell, we will have reactions at anode first. They will release electrons, they will travel to cathode. At cathode, we have oxygen plus these electrons will make the output. So that was the one of the type based upon the ionic reactions that fuel cells would be classified. Another type is the based upon the electrolytes. Which type of electrolyte we are using. Based upon this, the ionic reactions will also change. So what we use in PEM, PAFC, AFC, MCFC, SOFC, these are all written in this table. At anode, we use platinum. Cathode is platinum in case of PEM, and the electrolyte is perfluorinated sulfonic acid. So similarly, you must know that which anode material and which cathode material and which electrolyte is used to make a basic fuel cell, whether it is PEM, PAFC, AFC, MCFC, SOFC. Another classification is based upon the operating temperature. Depending upon the applications and the requirement, we have different types of fuel cell. So PEM operates below 100 degrees Celsius. PAFC, AFC, MCFC, SOFC, they have their operating temperature ranges. So this need to be you need to study these things, that at what operating temperature does a different type of fuel cell will work. Then we have another classification based upon the applications, that where we have to employ a fuel cell: in vehicles, mobiles, space, commercial applications up to 200 kilowatts, large scale applications, or for all sizes from kilowatt to megawatt. Based upon this, we can employ any type of fuel cell. Then we know the material of anode, cathode, electrolyte. We will install that, and then we know that if this is the particular type of fuel cell, these ionic reactions will take place and electricity would be generated. Analysis of fuel cell. Now in this slide, it is very important to know certain terms when we analyze a fuel cell, such as enthalpy and entropy. If this is not clear, I will send again the photograph of these pages. So what we are studying here is enthalpy and entropy. So it is important to know the efficiency of a fuel cell. Like we are saying that fuel cells are highly efficient. They give efficiency up to 70%, and therefore they are better than conventional systems. So how this efficiency is higher? To understand this, it is important to know what is enthalpy. So basically it is the thermodynamic quantity which measures the total heat content of a system, and it is represented by H, and this H is equal to E plus PV, where what is E? E is the internal energy of the system, P is the pressure, and V is the volume. Now this equation 1 can be also represented as change in enthalpy. So how we represent change in enthalpy? Delta H is equal to H final minus H initial. So what is H? H is basically the measurement of total heat in the system. The unit of H is joule, which is given by J. And another term, important term, is entropy, which need to be understood. It is represented by S, and entropy is defined as the measure of level of disorder in thermodynamic system. It is also called as the measure of chaos or a measure of disorder. So in this, the relation between enthalpy and entropy is represented by very important term which is called as Gibbs free energy. This is represented by G. So you can see in the last line, the relation between enthalpy and entropy is represented by G, which is called as the Gibbs free energy. So what is this Gibbs free energy? It is represented by G is equal to H minus Ts, or we can say change in Gibbs energy can be represented by delta G, which is equal to delta H minus T delta S. Now what is H? H is your enthalpy, S is your entropy, and T is the absolute temperature of the system. So how we define this delta G? This delta G is defined as the energy that is available to do useful work. Now depending upon what is G, it is positive value or a negative value. We will have two types of reactions. It can be exothermic or endothermic. Exothermic are also called as exergonic, and endothermic are called as endogenic reactions. You must have heard about these reactions earlier in your high schools also. So what are exothermic reactions? They have spontaneous process, and to make a spontaneous reaction, delta G must be negative, that is it should be less than 0. So here we have written that to have a spontaneous reaction, so that the reaction should occur instantly, this delta G should be less than 0. And when delta G is greater than 0, it means it is positive. It means the reaction will not occur spontaneously. So this is called as endothermic or endogenic reactions. So how we define the, okay, before that, okay, now we come to the how we define efficiency of a fuel cell. So efficiency is basically useful work obtained from fuel cell to the heat change accompanying the reaction. This is represented by eta, where eta is equal to delta G by delta H. Now this delta G is the change in Gibbs energy, which can be replaced by 1 minus T delta S by delta H. This was given in the equation 1. So we are just rewriting and putting this equation again here to convert delta G into 1 minus T into delta S by delta H. Hence from here we can say efficiency is equal to 1 minus T into delta S by delta H. So in this equation what we can see is, it should be noted that the efficiency of a fuel cell is dependent on both enthalpy and entropy. So in the first instance we have said during the analysis that these are the two important terms that we must know before we define the efficiency, because efficiency is calculated by knowing the entropy and enthalpy of a system. Now this was the analysis of a fuel cell. Now we come to the advantages. So we know that it is a direct energy conversion system because of the reasons. So that is the biggest advantage. No pollution or very minute pollution, because the byproducts are water, heat and electrical energy. No harmful gases are produced. As a fuel, fossil fuels can be used. So efficient use of fossil fuels can be made by using these types of cells. Recharging of fuel is not needed because continuous supply of fuel can be made. No noise is produced in this type of system, hence they can be installed anywhere, especially in the residential sectors also. Of course, we have certain limitations of every device or an equipment. So we have some limitations of fuel cells also. It is expensive than IC engines. So cost is one of the factor. Another is because water is the byproduct and also heat is produced. So this water has to be managed, and due to heat, proper cooling system should be used so that the heat may not hinder the device performance. Another disadvantage is a fuel cell. Hydrogen is commonly used as a fuel, which is difficult to store and transport hydrogen gas. So this is one of another limitation which has to be taken care. Thank you. So this was all on the unit of fuel cell. This all you have to do for your exams also. In case still you have any doubt, you can ask any query through on phones. Thank you. Be safe.